We have a great guest today. Dr. Jesse Jacobs is the CEO of FreeForm Chiropractic. This is a unique model in the chiropractic space. It's a franchise model, but it doesn't just come from his desire to grow and expand. It is motivated by certain core values and realizations that he had through COVID that really have informed how he wants to practice chiropractic and the message he wants his patients to get. He considers it a movement. This is a great conversation, a lot of insight into the challenges of expanding and growing beyond your means and really finding a true north for your practice. One of the benefits that I have of representing practicing chiropractors and physicians and nurses is that I see behind the scenes and how things are planned. Sometimes they don't always work out. Sometimes those things end up working out better than envisioned to begin with. But I get to see how the sausage is made. And I think for a lot of people, they can benefit from that same perspective. So through our conversation today, that's what I'm hoping we can give some insight into people. I will, as we were talking before we started recording, you seem to be everywhere. I mean, I see you on LinkedIn. I know you do podcasts, you do a lot of videos. You've got, the camera's right.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from? I mean, is that necessitated by the way chiropractic is changing? Is that just a reflection of your personal philosophy?
Yeah.
Why, you connect with people in a way that a lot of chiropractors, a lot of practitioners don't. What was your motivation?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, part of it was in order to really grow Freeform, the movement, I felt like I had to put myself out there and expose, the good, the bad, the ugly of it all. Because I was told once, you are most powerfully positioned to serve your former self. And that was so impactful for me when I really thought about that quote. It's like my former self was lost, trying to find a way, not a lot of guidance, fear, stress, building a family, a marriage, trying to raise healthy humans, like all of these different things. I feel like other people are dealing with it right now, but they don't know. They feel isolated and alone because no one's sharing in the chiropractic industry the good, the bad, the ugly. So that's where I was like, I have to step forward and do it.
And was COVID that moment that focused you? Was that the turning point?
Yeah.
How did that change your perspective then? I mean, what did you do differently as you worked
Well,
through COVID?
yeah. So I think let's go to like where I was mentally pre-COVID was more geared towards, hey, I want to open up 2, 3, 5 offices. I've been pushing really hard. I've been in practice since 2016. So I had about a 5-year run prior to COVID. Let's sell them. Let's exit. Maybe go into real estate. Maybe I want to practice, but only 2 days a week. Like that was my mentality. And I have 4 children. So I was like, well, I really want to spend time with them. And that's when the initial vision switched. And that's when I was like, we need a movement. And that's when Freeform's, model changed. It changed from corporate to franchise. It changed from, from a business model to help people to a business model to create freedom for both the patients and the doctors who own the office. So it was a huge mindset shift. It became more of that movement for the patients and the doctors.
You've now described Freeform 3 times as a movement. What is the movement? I mean, so give us an understanding of where this movement is coming from and what you're trying to get people to do.
Well, I feel like every day is a challenge. I think people look at life and you get everything thrown at you. And, sometimes you're just trying to make it through the day. And then you got low back pain or headaches. And what Freeform stands for is to help people live free. And that means the doctors, the patients, that means that you can live a lifestyle of your dreams. You can live a life professionally of your dreams. The movement, in a sense, is speaking the truth and teaching people, I know what you're going through. I've been challenged, but you got to take it day by day. It's a culture. It's a standard, really, Wade. If I were to say it in one word, it's a culture. It's a standard that you must set for your team, for your patients, and know, hey, there's a lighthouse out there showing you the way. There's a beacon of light. We're not here to save you, right? That's what most chiropractors, most healthcare practitioners try to do. It's the tugboat versus the lighthouse analogy. They try to come out there
Right.
and they get beaten to crap by the storm, and they go down with the ship, at times, because they're trying to give everything to save this person. We're not trying to save you. We're trying to show you the light and be that standard so you can follow it for your family and your team and your life.
Yeah, like motivating from within brings about lasting change, whereas external pressures or bring about only temporary change at best. Uh,
Yeah, the
but
fear.
but that kind of movement is more than just franchising.
Correct.
There's clearly a shift in philosophy or a shift in message. Do you see patients are more open to that change in philosophy, maybe from a healthcare system where just treated things, ailments after they already
Mhm.
occurred versus being proactive? Are patients more responsive to that message now?
I think now, yes, post COVID, you've seen the distrust in the medical system. I mean, there's been national polls that pre COVID, 30% of the American population did not trust the healthcare system. It's flipped. Now it's actually only 30% believe in the healthcare system. And it's not the healthcare doctors, the NPs, the nurses. I mean, these are all amazing people who want to make amazing changes and help people in their community. It's just the system is broken. We all know that. And it's a symptom management system. So, like, all they're doing is going out there and managing your symptoms. They're not really fixing anything. So, what we do and the belief system that we try to convert people to is like, you're responsible for your health, you are responsible for your life. And we are not here to save you. We're here to guide you. I've seen over the last 2 to 3 years more people seek out chiropractic care more than before. I think people are more educated. I think their bullshit meter is more finely tuned now, so they can see through a little bit of the, just people are smarter than ever. So being very transparent, being very direct, taking initiative, and having those candid conversations saying, hey, Wade, I truly feel this is the best path for you because this is actually putting you in the accountability seat. But I will give you all the tools, but no one's going to save you. I am here to help. And I think people are waiting and looking for that type of doctor out there now.
So you've got this shift in maybe mentality, or at least shift in the way the message is communicated to
Mm-hmm.
patients. Why did that necessitate the shift in business models from a traditional chiropractic office to a more franchise model? Why
Yeah.
why is the franchise model a better fit for this message?
Great question. Okay. Think about from a patient perspective, in order to retain that patient, they could come to you in pain and you could get them out of pain, but then they stop coming in when the pain's gone. And then you see them 6 months, a year later. There's a stat out there that says 73% of people who have low back pain, it's going to be reoccurrent. It's going to happen and get recurrence over your lifetime.
Mm.
So I was seeing that in my patients, and that's why shifting their belief system from, hey, we're not trying to treat your symptoms, we're trying to get to the core problem of this, educate you on the nervous system, how it works, so you can take responsibility and get better and have long-term change. This same reason, Wade, is why the model changed. What I realized with my corporate locations before I franchised, I had 3 corporate locations. I had amazing doctors, A+ players, on point, on purpose, and they would learn for 2 years. And then they were like, hey, I'm going to go open my own spot. And I'm like, cool, do it. And then what would happen? They'd call me, hey, I'm dealing with this problem. Hey, what happens when you do this? And I realized that they didn't get the full experience in terms of like the growing pains, right? They're almost different devils for different levels. So the franchise model is what switched in me from the business perspective, because I said, I need to continue to coach them and teach them the long term freedom play, which is like, I don't want you handcuffed to your practice. I don't want you to not go to your kids' soccer games or date night or lunch date with your wife because you can't leave your office. I want to teach how to chiropractors, I need to teach them the freedom and the accountability and the lifestyle that we don't really have in our profession.
So it sounds like one of the motivations was to help you retain good doctors, as they
100%.
feel like they need to move on and start building something of their own, this franchise
Hmm.
model where you partner with them to extend your brand into other locations and your philosophy into other locations that helps you retain them more. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. I feel like they don't know what they don't know. So a lot of these doctors, they see my lifestyle and they see my clinics and they're like, well, I want that, right? And they don't know what it all entails. They didn't see me on food stamps and having my kids on state funded healthcare and getting paid peanuts and living under the poverty line. So they don't need to see that and they don't need to experience that. So for me, it was also giving them the path without them having to, they're going to go through obstacles regardless, but giving them the path that's a lot clearer for them, because that's another thing we don't have in our profession is a clear path to success. We just have a bunch of people who pretend to be gurus and they're not even practicing anymore, right? Like it's kind of backwards in our profession for some reason. So I wanted to be that standard that can teach them, hey, this is the clear path, and yes, I want to do life with you. I want to, if you want 2 offices, 3 offices, I've done it. I can teach you. There's just not a lot of people out there that can say that.
franchising in chiropractic is not new. It's not common, but it's not new. There are other franchised chiropractic practices out
Mhm.
there. The Joint, for example, is one of them.
Yep.
But you're not the Joint.
Mhm.
Franchise is usually, typically it's expensive proposition to set up because there are certain filings that have to be made, especially if you go into other states. So what were the challenges? I mean, have you looked back and said, okay, maybe I didn't have to franchise to hold on to good doctors? I mean, have you questioned the decision to franchise? I mean, what are some of the
Mhm.
challenges you've experienced?
Yeah, I've definitely gone through those moments of questioning what the hell did I just do? It is very expensive. I have other very successful doctors who want to open up multiple clinics, and they ask me, I'm trying to figure out what I should do, licensing, corporate, franchising. And I explain, look, franchising is a totally different industry. It's like starting in a brand new industry, all like you're a rookie and you've never like, so there was a huge learning curve and I'm still learning. I still don't feel like I've learned. I know just I'm just at the tip of the iceberg right now. um to answer your question, franchising to me was purely based off the mission and purpose that I feel God put in light around that 2020 time period.
So right now you said you have 9 locations. Have you expanded beyond Texas yet? Is that in the cards or in the
Mhm.
future? What's kind of your where do you see Freeform in 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, great question. So originally, I'm from Dallas Fort Worth, grew up here, was raised here. This is home to me. So I really wanted to capture this market with multi-location in this area, and we were going to expand out. So we're looking at this being a national brand. We're looking at states like Idaho, Arizona, Florida. We have multiple franchisees, potential franchisees that are asking and inquiring and doing our discovery days, which we explain what the brand is. They come out, they see our office, they see our main office running. So yeah, we are looking to open it up over the next couple years to being in multiple other states, Arkansas, Oklahoma, because we want that message and that standard, that gold standard, to be set everywhere in America, not just DFW.
How do you go about finding potential owner operators? I mean, that to me, if you're as you're building a brand, that's got to be top of mind. Have quality people be those franchisees, but I can imagine that would be a challenge to find people. How do you go
Yeah.
about doing that?
Yeah, that's everything right now, Wade. I mean, you look at other models. I see what other chiropractic franchises have done and where they've failed. I've seen them grow faster than they can keep up with the support. So our growth model is seeking out those people, but mainly having them seek us out. Right? We've had a lot of people since we've increased our content. People resonate with what we do. I think our franchise, going back to your last question, it also answers this one, is we stand for something. Whereas a lot of franchises, they just stand for a business model. They stand for an income. They stand for whatever. We stand for a mission to provide high quality lifestyle chiropractic through American values. And so when you're looking at that shelf in the grocery store and you see all these different brands of chiropractic, what makes you choose Freeform? Because it stands for something bigger than yourself and that mission behind it. So what we're really trying to focus on with our potential franchisees are getting people who understand our culture, understand our core values, resonate and align with it. Because if you don't want to go out there and speak to the community and boldly step out into your city and teach people about true health and wellness, you're not going to fit in with our model. If you don't want to hold yourself accountable, hold your team accountable, be a leader, it's not going to work. We need those A+ players. So that's been that's been a fun journey over the last year trying to, because to tell you also, all of our offices, not all of them, but 70% of them have been from associate doctors that were once in a free
Right.
form, and they love it so much they're like, I don't see any other path. I want to open up a free form.
Yeah,
So
they
getting
had
outside of that.
experience working with you and then wanted to expand versus somebody coming in from the outside that maybe doesn't have that personal connection.
Yes, sir. Or they might be working in one of our other offices. They're an associate doctor. They're in the system, and they're like, "Hey, look, I love what y'all stand for. I see the vibration of your office, the patients that come in, how they want to be there, they enjoy being there, they're part of the family." And they're like, "Well, I want to create my lighthouse now." And that's what the plan is, that
Yeah.
homegrown model. But that's going to grow slow and steady. And as you know, in the franchise model, volume is important because it's very expensive. So we need higher volume, but I'm not going out there and just allowing anybody to be awarded. We've turned down over 5 people in the last 6 months for franchises because they just didn't align with our values.
Do you look for somebody in a specific location or do you look for specific people wherever they may be? In other words, are you focused on location? Clearly, you're interested in the type of person, but are you focused on a location first, the owner second, or is it owner first, location second?
I think it's owner first, always the person first. It's like when I'm hiring for someone in my office, whether it's a front desk administrative team member or it's a doctor, I don't look at anything other than who is this person? What do they stand for? Do they align? If they do that, then we can talk about location, because I used to want to open up in Hawaii. That's where that was my mindset, right? There's
Yeah.
some people who think they want to open up in their hometown. And then we talk about the demographics and then we tell them, like, in order for you to be the most successful and have the highest probability of success, these are the locations we recommend. And they can still open up where they want to, but we have certain regions and demographics that need to be targeted, and we want to make sure we're teaching them that business side as well.
It sounds like you come into each location with good information about the demographics and what it takes in terms of volume to be successful. I'm sure you're looking at potential patient population, median incomes,
Mhm.
those types of metrics. Um, and that made me think of something you said earlier about some businesses grow faster than they can support. And so tell me about a situation you've experienced where maybe you've grown faster than you felt you could support, and
Yeah.
the lesson you learned.
Yeah. Again, it was kind of that mentality shift. When I first started, I was very frugal, I mean, I didn't buy new cars. I was just, even when I was making money, I was like, is this real? Like, is this, it's a fluke, right? That month was a fluke. Okay. That year was a fluke. And then after I stacked multiple years on it, I'm like, okay, maybe I know what I'm doing here, right? But as we grew really fast, what I learned was I would rather have a deeper bench than having to go out there and just pick someone off the street and say, I need you as a doctor because I need a body.
Yeah.
That's one thing in our freeform offices is you don't want to be premature in hiring someone because you're not growing as fast, or let's say you're growing at a certain rate. I would rather have that person because that person is an investment. And when I switched the mindset of these people are not just increasing my payroll, this is an investment into the company, this is an investment into higher quality of care, this is an investment into a better patient experience for our patients. Like, once I shifted the mindset and realizing what got me here is not going to get me to that next level, I need to be prepared. I mean, just today, I had a conversation with one of our doctors who is needing a second and third doctor. And I said, you got to be thinking in 3 to 5 to 10 year gaps. You can't be thinking in this monthly, yearly kind of cadence. You must be thinking, where do I need to be in 3 years, 5 years? And what do I need to do now to achieve that? Because this doctor is kind of in a situation where he's got some really awesome personal things happening, like awesome new home, a new marriage, new baby, all these things. But he's also got to have the professional side to the stability and the durability of that practice. So, whereas before, I didn't really care about durability. It was just like, I'm going to jump out of this airplane and figure out how to pull the chute.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable. It's not scalable. So that was like, having a deeper bench is one of the most important aspects of having durability.
A lot of people don't think about even the mundane things about running and expanding a business. Certain policies and procedures, employee handbooks, or certain
Mm,
policies as you deal with people who need time off for a new baby, or they want to, something happens in their life unexpectedly. How do you adapt? How do you help
mhm.
them adapt? These processes and these policies create time to develop. And when you grow faster than the policies you have to support it, oftentimes you're just flying by the seat of your pants, and you don't develop a consistency that is really required in a franchise model, or
Mhm.
really any business that's growing beyond itself. So
So true.
what what types of things have you
Yeah.
struggled to implement as you're growing so fast? I mean, what has been the
Yeah.
biggest challenge?
Well, as you were asking that question, immediately what popped in my head was, when I had one or two offices, I was the white knight that came in and saved the day. I was the one who knew how to treat patients, who adjust really well, speak, convert, educate, do all the things. And I realized that that only helps
Yeah,
so
that
many
doesn't
people,
scale.
and it
That doesn't
doesn't
scale.
scale. So every single process, every single procedure, this took 5 years, well, more like 10 years, but 10 years I've been dialing this in consistently. And even today, me and my COO before this call are sitting here talking like, we need a dialed in SOP, standard operating procedure, for this entire training deck, right? We need to get so detailed that anybody can read this and understand the flow of it. And so there's numerous things, from adjusting, Wade, to our soft tissue work, to our rehab. It needs to be so clear for our owner operators so they can say, okay, I know this, now I can train someone else. It just, every single component to our patient flow, our day one, day two, what are the ladies saying at the front? What is our front desk saying? What are they saying over the phone? Is it repeatable? Is it reproducible? Because the key here is we have 9 offices because we have reproducible results based off our system, right? So, how do we do that? Well, our system is really the key. The operator he operates the system. It's not based off of Dr. Wade's personality. It's based off the system. So, that was one thing I learned really quick as we were scaling is like we have personality driven practices. We have to drive this to the brand and the systems and the
So
processes.
what is the system? I mean, is it a set of policies? Is it just the SOPs on how to treat patients? Is it
Yeah.
a branding manual? I mean, what's the system?
Oh man, I mean, where do I start? I mean, the basic system for our to get reproducible results is from our process, our procedures, our day one. What's the first thing that the patient is hearing to the day one procedure, the exam procedure? Why are we different? How
So
do we
like
do things?
messaging to the patient right
Yeah,
off the bat. I mean, not
me-
advertising before they even come in the door,
correct.
I
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. Day
Branding,
zero.
messaging from everyone up and down the chain, from your receptionist to the doctor that's seeing the patient to the chiropractic assistant or whomever may also be in the office. So consistent messaging. How do you even get your arms around the messaging? I mean, you can't be in every office telling
Mhm.
everybody what to say every step of the way. How do you go about controlling that message?
Well, I mean, we are always constantly educating our team on and reminding them, right? Everybody has really short memories. So we're always reminding them. Plus, you just get in the flow of you're getting in the operations as an owner. You sometimes forget the purpose that you're there. Like you have to remind yourself why you're doing this. So our core values is a huge component to that, right? Our core values keep us aligned. That's our 10 commandments of freeform. And those are a guideline. Then we have our detailed procedures and manuals. I mean, we have a marketing attraction manual, we have a conversion manual, we have a retention manual, we have a culture manual. So it
Mm.
is never ending in terms of what we need to be constantly and we're always tweaking them, right? We're always adapting to the market conditions, to what's out there. We're always trying to get our clinical care better. Right now I'm meeting with one of the best chiropractors in the world who treats the top of the top because they have a certain component that I think can improve our clinical care. So we're never satisfied. We're always trying to move the needle and differentiate ourselves from everybody else. So there's constant communication there.
You've got the manuals, you got the SOPs. How do you mentioned training several times. How do
Mhm.
you go about getting the word out or keeping it top of mind? How do you
Yeah.
reinforce these processes you want people among all levels to continue to implement?
Yeah, we have a cadence of meetings from a corporate level to our doctor level to our CA level. So we have like from a daily cadence, we have our morning huddles with our doctors that each individual unit at
Mm.
7 a.m. every single office around the country, the doctors are meeting, going over x-rays, prepping. Then we go our team huddle 7:15. Then we have our Monday meeting. Those are all more individual unit cadence. Then we have our corporate level where once a month we're meeting all hands on deck. Every single team member of Freeform are on this call, so we're all on the same page. This is where we go over, hey, this is our next quarter four, toolkit, and we lay out all the things that every office should be doing. Then we go our DC training. So we have our doctors training once a month. Our CAs do a training once a month. Then we do in person quarterly workshops for our CAs and our doctors, which are more hands-on and role playing. And we do weekly trainings as a corporate unit. So it doesn't stop, but there is a cadence to making sure everybody's aligned and on the same page. And if they have any questions, why are we doing this? We have a reason behind it. So we make
Sure.
sure we explain that.
Those things are so important, especially because you will have people come in midstream. You'll have new people that are onboarded, and so they need to be the cadence needs to be quick enough that they can jump in, and they don't go months without getting some kind of
Hmm.
training. You need onboarding training. You need people in the locations to lead by examples. All that is extremely important. When you talked about support, not growing faster than your support, immediately I thought of like legal compliance stuff.
Yes.
Whether it be HIPAA compliance, especially as you branch into other states, each state's going to have different laws that may dictate what you can and can't do.
Hmm.
It's the same basic standard of chiropractic care, but they may have different state privacy policies or artificial intelligence policies, and
Hmm.
how that can or can't be used in a practice with or without patient consent. How do you go about tackling this kind of vast, often insurmountable mound of compliance regulations,
Yeah.
especially because as a franchise, they're going to look to you as the kind of the true north when it
Hmm.
comes to compliance? How do you tackle that?
Well, you find the experts in the field like yourself, you hire them and you listen to them, right? It's the same thing in the franchise model. I knew how to be an owner operator that can convert to a CEO who can then convert to more of an investor, right? Those are like the three different levels. You have your owner operator, you have your CEO, and then you have your investor. So, like, I try to teach them, my doctors, to move into that realm, like in the business, on the business, above the business. I know that. I don't know health law. I don't know franchise law. I don't know real estate. So we have our partners that we've developed relationships with, like yourself, like our real estate team, compliance team, that can help guide us. And we go to the experts in those fields because when I started franchising, I didn't know anything about franchising. So what did I do? I seeked out someone who has franchised before, who have moved from 0 units to 40 units, sold the company, and I hired that person, and that's my COO. And Mike Lauer, who runs the operations of the franchise business, he's been through a lot of the things that we're going through right now. So he knows the path. He's been to that mountain. And I want to ask the person, hey, how do you get to that top of that mountain? You've been there. Can you do it for me? And can you walk me through this? So I firmly believe you can only get to that level when you start to bring other people in with you, and then everybody rises together.
So, as we wrap up our conversation today, you clearly have embraced this philosophy and the freeform movement and the system, and you clearly have a vision. What do you wish someone would have told you as you started this process that you wish you had known when you started? What do you wish
Yeah.
somebody had told you that maybe would have made this process easier or maybe a little bit more predictable?
Oh man, that's a great question. You kind of put me on the spot here. I feel as though one thing that's happened to me over the last 10 years of starting my first practice and now growing it over the last, 3 years, we really started the franchise model in 2022. So it's been a lot of growth in the last 3 years. But what I've realized is like I'm just naturally optimistic, Wade. Like I feel like I've been able to achieve success in my with my family and my faith and my freedom and my profession because of who I am, my mentality, my optimism. My message would not be necessarily there's no shortcut. It would just be do my saying would be do good anyway, and having moral courage. Like when you catch success, Wade, people will accuse you of your selfish motives, ulterior motives for money. Do good anyway. When you do well, you're going to win false friends, you're going to find enemies. succeed anyway. When people attack you because you're helping them, help anyways. Like when you're trying to give your best and people kick you in the teeth, give your best anyway. Because I've gone through this and I've found like, okay, that happened to me. Now I'm going to kind of retreat a little bit and I'm going to change certain things. And you do need to change. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect your family. You got to protect your faith. You got to do all those things, but do good anyway. There's a lot of bad out there, but you need to be the good. You need to be the lighthouse. That's how you live free. That's how you win daily. That's the only thing I would say to myself is like, shit's going to happen. Just continue to do good anyway.
Do good anyway. I've heard, I would probably express it as saying, you must be, have your true north. And
Mm-hmm.
when you are put in situations where you're asked to compromise your values, go back to that true north. And it sounds like that's what, you've experienced, people trying to pull you away from that. And you've got a good sense of who you are and what you're doing this for. And that keeps you focused, at least in the right direction. Even if not every answer is simple and not every outcome is optimal, at least you've got the right vision and you're moving in a direction you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I wouldn't say comfortable. I'm definitely not comfortable with anything these days, right? I say like being comfortable, complaining, criticizing. That those are the three C's you don't want to deal with, right? I know where I know where you're going with it. Yeah, it's gratitude for where you're at. It's making sure that you realize, look, I mean, there's been some crazy stuff that has happened to me and some of my best friends, my loved ones, and it always puts back in perspective like how grateful we are to live where we live and be in the country and have the people surrounding us, being the profession I'm in. I think it's the most fulfilling profession ever. Now, what you mentioned there, though, you said something that was like the people need to know who they are, right? That's where that's that area, that lonely road, that no man's land that I was in. Is I didn't know who I was. I didn't know. I would tell my wife Emily after my first 4 or 5 years of success in practice, I just don't think God put me on this earth to be a chiropractor because I just don't feel fulfilled. And in the very beginning of our conversation today, we talked about COVID, and that was the turning point for me and my family and Freeform. I think people sometimes are just impatient. We're impatient people, humans who we want to know what our purpose and what our mission is. And I think people just need to be patient there. It'll come to them when the time is right. And the last thing I would say is like, when you get a no in your life, that is God saying, I have something better for you. And sometimes you read into it and you think all these things and you get into this negative state of mind. I truly feel like I've gotten really good at being like, okay, how do we turn this into a positive? Because the negative doesn't serve you. That fear, that anxiety, that worry, that doubt, it doesn't help you. So let's turn this negative into a positive and move into action. And that's really the most powerful thing that I've learned over the last 10 years.
And that is so insightful and so valuable. More people should take that to heart and find value and meaning and direction, not just from their immediate circumstances, but from commitments and their own values.
Yeah.
If people want to find out more about you or Freeform, where can they go online?
Yeah, they could find me pretty much on my handle is Dr. Jesse Jacobs, Dr. Jesse Jacobs at pretty much any social media platform. You can email me or you could find us on freeformchiropractic.com. There's a franchise link that you could click on, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, the best way to communicate would be to reach out to my COO, Mike Lauer, through our website, fill out a lead form. If you're just wanting to, we have coaching that if you people, there are doctors, Wade, that they have a great model. They know what they stand for. They have their model. They just want to become CEOs and they want to move from in the business to on the business to above it. That would be in our Vitalis movement coaching. That's a elite coaching program, small group. We do 2 calls a month. That's all geared around culture, CEO, what I've learned to scale. Then we have our franchise model, and then we help the students. Man, I love the students. I love helping them. They are so lost in this crazy world right now with our industry and healthcare and chiropractic schools. So I'm heavily involved with Parker University. So if anybody wants to reach out, they could find me through the school. I'm part of the alumni group there. So there's all the different ways to reach out. But here's the deal. They don't reach out. Like if you are thinking it, just
Do it.
reach out, because you know how it is when you're a successful attorney, you got all these different things that you do and you help so many people. You probably have other attorneys who are like, hey, reach out to me. But how often do they do it? It's very rare. So I would just reach out and we'll take it from there.
Dr. Jesse Jacobs, Freeform Chiropractic. Hey, thank you so much. I've enjoyed getting to know you more over the last year or so, and just appreciate all that you do and what you stand for. Best of luck, my friend. I'll catch you before too much longer.
Hey, thank you, sir. It was a pleasure being on here. And thank you for doing what you do, Wade.